The cheapest price you ever set is the one that follows you the longest. You think you're being humble. You think you're being smart, lowballing yourself so the work starts flowing, so someone finally takes a chance on you. By the end of this, you'll see what that low number is actually quietly building behind your back. Picture the moment you send a quote. You shave it down before you hit send, just a little. You tell yourself you'll raise it. Once you've proven yourself, once the testimonials stack up, once you feel like you've earned the right to charge what the work is worth. That feels like patience. It's a filter, and it's already running. Here's what that filter does. The number you put on your work goes out into the world before a single client sees your portfolio, before they read your first email, before they know anything about how good you actually are. The price arrives first, and the price is sorting people on your behalf, deciding who walks through your door and who keeps scrolling. So who does a below market price attract? The person whose entire decision starts and ends with cost. They typed cheap into the search bar and you matched. That's the screen you built. Think about what kind of working relationship grows out of that first contact. The client who chose you because you were the lowest number on a spreadsheet has already told you everything about how they'll behave. They'll question your hours. They'll want 3 more revisions for free. They'll treat your judgment as a suggestion and their opinion as the brief. When a better paying offer pulls your attention elsewhere, they'll remind you of the rate you agreed to, the one you set, the one that's now a cage. And the strange part is, none of this comes from them being villains. It comes from selection. You advertised one thing loudly: I am the affordable option. The people most excited by that message are, almost by definition, the people who care most about paying as little as possible. They optimize for cost the way you optimize for craft. You attracted exactly who you asked for. So what happens to the ones you actually wanted? The clients who'd have given you room to make real decisions, who'd have trusted your eye, who'd have come back next quarter with a bigger budget and a phrase every freelancer dreams of hearing: just do what you think is best. Those clients glanced at your price and walked the other way. A low number reads to them as low confidence. They weren't being snobs. In their world, the price is a signal of how seriously you take yourself, and you handed them a quiet confession. Sit with that for a second, because it stings. The discount you offered out of generosity is the same discount that screened out the generous. You filtered for the people who'd squeeze you and filtered against the people who'd back you. The kindness was real. The result was a client base that makes the work feel like sandpaper. You felt this already, even if you couldn't name it. The project that paid the least somehow ate the most of your week. The client you charged a favor rate texted you on a Sunday like they owned a slice of you. Meanwhile, the one job you nervously overquoted, the one you were sure you'd lose, said yes without blinking and then left you alone to do good work. That contrast isn't random. It's the filter showing its hand. The cheap door and the fair door open onto 2 completely different versions of your career, and you pick which one every time you name a price. This is the trap nobody warns you about when you go independent. You left the cubicle because you wanted ownership, your own projects, your own terms, your own ceiling, and then you quietly built a new boss out of a number. The rate became the manager. It decides which jobs you can afford to take, which clients feel entitled to your weekends, how trapped you feel at 2 a.m. finishing work for someone who'll haggle over the invoice anyway. Now, you might be thinking, but I'm just starting out. I have no proof, no reviews, no big names, nothing. Charging real money when I'm unknown feels like a scam. That objection is honest, and it's worth taking seriously because it's the strongest argument for going cheap. So let's actually test it. Being new is a reason to charge less than a 10-year veteran. Fair. It is a poor reason to charge less than the work is worth to the person receiving it. A logo that helps someone's business look credible to their customers does the same job whether you've been designing for 2 years or 20. The value lives in the outcome for them, in their result. When you price off your insecurity instead of their result, you're funding their savings with your own time. And the proof problem solves itself faster than you'd think. At a fair rate, charge a serious price, and the clients you land take the project seriously. They show up prepared, they give clear feedback, they refer you to people who also pay well, because that's the room they live in. 2 good projects at a real rate teach you more and build a stronger reel than 10 cheap ones, where everyone treated your time as disposable. There's a deeper mechanism running underneath all of this, and it's the part that keeps people stuck for years. It's called anchoring. The first rate you accept becomes the reference point for everything after. Your clients anchor to it. You anchor to it. Raising prices later feels like a betrayal of the people who knew you back when. And it feels like arrogance to yourself, because the cheap number has quietly become your identity. Low rates harden into a story you tell about who you are. Watch how this plays out in real life. Someone builds websites for $400 a project because that's what they charged the first nervous time. 3 years in, they're better, faster, genuinely good, and still charging $400, working twice the hours of a peer who started at $2,000 and never apologized for it. Same skill. The gap is talent? No. The gap is the anchor each of them dropped on day one, and how hard it is to lift once it's set. And here's the cruel twist of the anchor. The better you get, the heavier it pulls. Skill that should free you instead traps you, because now you're worth far more than your number, and the gap between them lives in your stomach as a low, constant resentment. You start dreading the very work you used to love. The craft didn't sour. The math did. Every hour you pour into a project priced below its worth is an hour you can't sell to someone who'd value it properly. And that invisible cost compounds quietly, month after month, while you tell yourself you're being reasonable. So the question stops being, what can I get away with charging, and becomes something sharper. What kind of clients do I want to spend the next 3 years of my one life around? Because your price is the invitation, and only certain people RSVP to a bargain. When you raise your rate to where the work actually sits, 3 things shift at once. The cost shoppers self-select out, and you feel the relief of silence from them. The clients who respect expertise start to notice you because now you read as someone who knows their worth. And every time you quote a real number and someone says yes, rebuild the belief that your judgment is worth paying for. That belief is the actual asset. The skill was always there. The pricing decides whether the world gets to use it on your terms or theirs. Let me steelman the other side one more time properly. There's a real strategy where you do free or cheap work to break in. Pro bono for a cause you believe in, a discounted rate for a dream client whose name opens doors. That can be smart. The difference is intention. You chose that price as an investment with a clear exit, a specific door it's meant to open. That's a tactic with a deadline. A default low rate set out of fear and left to drift is the opposite. It just anchors you slowly into work that resents you back. Here's the reframe that changes how you'll quote tomorrow. Pricing is a measure of who you work with and who you become, far more than a measure of how good you are right now. A higher rate is the filter that prevents the suffering of cheap projects in the first place. Set the filter on purpose, and the number alone won't fix everything. If you raise your rate and the work behind it falls flat, the market corrects you fast, and it should. Price buys you the right room. What you do once you're inside it is still on you. The rate opens the door, the craft keeps you there. Both are your job now. That's the deal you signed up for when you decided to build this thing yourself. But understand what you're choosing every time you discount on instinct. You're casting the next 3 years of your working life, the clients, the respect, the creative freedom, the the rate you'll still be trapped at when you're twice as good. The number is small. What it recruits is not. So tomorrow, when your hand hovers over that quote and the old reflex whispers, "Don't be greedy," ask a better question. Greedy toward whom? Toward the client who'd grind you down for a discount you offered them as a gift. Generosity that builds your own cage is just a habit wearing a halo. Set the price that calls in the people who'll make this worth doing. Let the bargain hunters keep scrolling. They were never going to respect the work anyway. The right number feels uncomfortable to send. Send it anyway. That discomfort is just your old anchor letting go, and the people you actually want to build with are already on the other side of it, waiting for a number that tells them you're serious. Be serious. The price you set this week is a quiet vote for the kind of builder you'll be in 3 years and the people gathered around you while you build it. Charge like the work is worth it, and watch who shows up.